You have to unveil it now, Jerry.
Take your veil off.
How does one unveil? I don't know. What do you do? Oh, you pull the string out. Okay.
Set fire to it.
Oh.
Who is it? There's a certain likeness.
Sorry, that's one down. You're right, John. Ladies and gentlemen, give him a massive round of applause, Jerry Devils! How cool, right? How cool to hear those stories and be in the same room as this man instead of reading about them. How fantastic is that? Hang on, he wants it back.
The last thing I meant to say, and this is serious as well, I'm really honoured to be sharing this on the same day with Ray and also with Delia Derbyshire. I've been a big fan of Delia Derbyshire for a long time. I don't know if people know, obviously everyone knows her for Doctor Who, but she did some fantastic electronic music that was just regarded as soundtracks for most of her life, actually. Not soundtracks, sound effects. No one took it seriously at all. Very sadly, she's got a lot of recognition in the last few years, and it's great to see her getting recognition in Coventry. And she sadly died just before she started getting the recognition. Some people put on a concert of her music in a gravel pit somewhere and invited her, and apparently she just died a couple of days before, so she never ever in her whole life really got the recognition she deserved. She did a fantastic album in the 60s, 1968, called White Noise, and I'm going to play the first track of that, and whether you believe it or not, it sounds exactly like Massive Attack. The whole Bristol sound actually came from Coventry! I'll play it to you after this and prove it to you. So, and also that maybe, you know, Ghost Town influenced the Bristol sound as well. So, all right, just a bit.
Jerry, tell us, everybody! Come on! Right, I think it's time that we inducted two more legends into this Wall of Fame of ours. What do you reckon? Now, Jerry's just been talking about this next legend. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Delia Derbyshire. Come on. As part of the BBC Electronic Workshop, it was Delia's groundbreaking arrangement of this theme tune that is regarded by many as the finest TV theme tune of all time. She's worked with the likes of Paul McCartney, Pink Floyd. Her creativity in the world of electronic music has made her a true Coventry icon. As Jerry also mentioned, she sadly passed away, but to receive the plaque on her behalf, ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Clive Blackburn. Come on!
Sounds familiar.
Hello. I feel a bit of a fraud, really. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not really into two-tone music, and I don't think Delia was particularly. I won't go on this one as Jerry, but thank you very much, Jerry, for what you said about Delia. Pete did mention to me that you're a fan of hers. I've already given Pete some records of Delia's to go into the museum. I'll just say a little bit about Delia. She was born in Coventry in 1937, went to Bars Hill Grammar School, and from there she got a scholarship to Girton College at Cambridge, and she went there actually to study mathematics, but in the second year she transferred to music, which was very difficult to do because a lot of people had tried to do that before, but if they couldn't get into Cambridge University to do music. Anyway, they gave her some very rigorous tests and she got through, and she eventually graduated in mathematics and music, and I think that is the secret to her music. She had a very analytical mind. She worked everything out on graph paper using a slide rule, and she didn't just sort of sit down and jam something. You know, with electronic music, really, you've got to do that, because in the 60s it was such a laborious process. I'll say a little bit about the technology for people who don't remember the 60s for whatever reason. That it was very simple. You had valve oscillators producing electronic tones. Transistors were just coming in, but they weren't using them professionally. There's no microchips or anything like that. Nothing was programmable. It was all analog, no digital. And what you used to do was just record it one note at a time by selecting the note that you wanted on the oscillator and recording it on tape. And if you're really ambitious, you used to hook up a bank of sort of 12 oscillators to a little keyboard and try and play a tune, but then, you know, after you left it to stabilise for about an hour or so, and, you know, they still kept going out of tune. It was very difficult. Anyway, things like on Doctor Who, all the swoops and glides and things, that was all done on an oscillator by hand. You calibrate it and mark the notes that you wanted, and then do it all by hand in time with the backing track. Really laborious work. And the rhythm was usually done what they call music concrete, which is using real sounds and then treating them. You might filter them and speed up the tape, slow it down, run it backwards, and produce all sorts of weird effects. And it ended up sounding like nothing you could ever have recorded in the real world. That's what gives it this sort of out of earth feeling that you get on Doctor Who. She was absolutely brilliant talent. She was never recognised in her own time. She did a lot of records outside the BBC as well, but not usually under her own name. There was a studio called Delta Plus that she used to work for with Brian Hodgson. A few of them are under her own name. I've given some of the CDs to Peter as well. And if she was here today, she would be really proud to know that at last she's got some sort of public recognition, because in her lifetime, if you said Delia Derbyshire to somebody, they just wouldn't have a clue who you meant. It was all radiophonic workshop and it was anonymous. But that's it. I'd like to thank Peter for bringing me, inviting me along, and Jerry again for all his kind words. And yeah.
I don't know if people realise, but this was Delia's partner, so let's give him a really big round of applause.
Thanks very much. Yeah, I am very nervous, and I don't usually do this sort of thing. I'll hand you back to Brodie now. Thank you.
Come on, give him a massive round of applause, because you've got to do this. It's time to unveil the plaque, come on. Everybody, come on, nice and loud. But apparently, well, I'll take this opportunity. Apparently, you've got to move some vans outside. It's like a bit doing a disco, isn't it? Some vans outside. If you own them, you've got to move them, blocking the way apparently. But there you go. You can do that in a bit. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause. Come on, Clive Blackburn accepting the plaque on behalf of Delia. Lovely to meet you, mate, and some lovely words there as well. Thank you very much indeed for those.